All right, so I've had this Wright Stander B for about, I want to say 2 years now. My Skag got stolen, so I found this used, and I've been maintaining it and refurbishing things with it because the guy had it in 21. I think he was like the new owner or whatever he says, so I don't know. And he said he had changed like a flywheel or whatever on it, and I think it came with like 2 bald tires. I've replaced it a few times already. But anyways, this will be a 2-year review and some maintenance things that I do to it. It's basic oil changes on this thing. Just when it gets dark, I replace it. Also, I found a little hack because my mowing shop that I go to have really expensive filters. Obviously, the Wright filters are like 20 bucks a filter. I just personally, I don't have a warranty on this, so I do what I want to it. So I get these filters right here from AutoZone, and they're $5.99, and I just change them every month and a half, 2 months. It's cheaper to do that. I can get 4 filters and change more often. Anyways, so that's just a cheaper hack. The oil drain is right there, just 10 millimeter. Pretty simple. I just jack it up, put the bucket down there, and just let it drip. Pretty easy. The battery I've had to replace just recently. It died on me. Both the battery and the starter went bad, pretty much. That's probably part of the reason why the starter was also going bad. But anyway, starter went bad, so I replaced that, and that's actually really easy to do. So here's the new one right here. They're not cheap, unfortunately. I think I paid like just under 300, between 200 and 300. I can't remember exact price, but it's just a couple bolts, one here, one on the other side, and then you gotta undo all these wires here. And then once you do that, just take your fuel tank out, and it'll come out easier that way. So, but other than that, I had another issue since I've had this mower. That's why this is a long, what do you call it, 2-year review. This fuel tank actually had a rupture right here. It had a weird like crack or rupture. I don't know how it happened. Maybe a stick got behind there and then I kicked it. I'm really not sure, but I had to melt it first after I drained it obviously. I melted the plastic, and then I put bonding over it, let it dry, spray painted it for extra, and then I did Flex Seal right over it after it dried also. So I just wanted to make sure it held fuel, because I actually might have killed a lawn or two, maybe even lost a job because of it. I didn't know it was leaking. Anyways, so that's a new one. I don't have the straps that hold it, but it doesn't really move, so if I ever need to take it out, it's fine. I do have a hack for it though, if that ever happens to you. I used just a red fuel can, just one of these. I popped drilled a hole right through there, and then it worked as a temporary fuel can, because these fuel things are $400. So I didn't want to buy a new one, so I just repaired it, saved some money. This one's always getting credit, so obviously there's some air in those lines. I probably didn't bleed it when I did the change, the transmission fluid change. Anyways, it's not a big deal. Just put more fluid in there when it gets low. But overall, it's a really good mower. Tires obviously aren't cheap. You can get them on eBay for 80 bucks, or pay the $300 combo with the rim and tire, which is this one right here from Wright. It's a new rim and tire combo. 300 bucks to do that. So it's up to you. Downside with this one, when he gave it to me, this had a kink in it. So I got to straighten this out. That bent. Also, if you load this mower facing the wind, meaning this, if you have this mower like sideways, like to the right, and the wind hits this and flips this open, that happened to me one time. obviously this latch isn't the best. It flipped open and it bent the hinges, and so the door was like completely bent and I couldn't even close it anymore, so I had to re-bend that enough so now that it lines up and closes. So that's the other repair. See, it's damaged right there. So I got some paint. I'm gonna sand that and paint it and whatever. So that's one of the issues with it. I did lighten the motor up. I took a bunch of the extra metal covers everywhere underneath all the frames, extra protection for like the transmission. But I mean, I'm not running over concrete rocks, so I thought that stuff was excessive. Obviously they're trying to protect the transmissions underneath, but I just run over grass and leaves. I mean, I'm not hitting any tree stumps or anything. If I do, then whatever. Let's see here. I didn't do a mulch flap thing because, believe it or not, this is what's really cool. This is my 61 here. This little guy here, it's only $100 at Wright. You know, it just comes. I just take it off like that, and it clips right on in there, and it's the exact design as this. So like literally can do this and just drop it in place. It's at an angle right now, but yeah, I bent it so it would stay better. Since I don't like putting the, you're supposed to put screws so it stays and doesn't fall out, but I'm constantly taking it on and off, and it's a lot faster the way I do it versus bolting and unbolting it. That would be a pain in the ass. So anyways, yeah, I can swap between these two mowers, which are my two favorite right now combos. I'll do a review on the ZX10 later, but this one's about the 36 stand-on. I would definitely buy another one of these. Super reliable. It's a Kawasaki engine. I put new spark plugs in it at the time I was troubleshooting it. I lost a cover in the highway. That's another downside. It never really clipped in. But believe it or not, I've mowed in the rain with this. The water doesn't penetrate this. Just get a new one of these every 3 months. So I'm about due to buy another one of these. You can clean these to a certain extent, but a new one always seems to be better. Just personal preference. Probably better for the motor too, keep dirt away. I am worried about this not being covered is going to get, hit by the sun. So I'm probably going to end up having to buy a new tube eventually if that corrodes. But I keep all my stuff locked away so it doesn't sit in the sun or rain overnight. So, but yeah, 2 spark plugs, one here, one on the other side. Pretty simple. What else have I done to this thing? Oh, one thing that is an issue is I haven't obviously taken the time to figure out why this throttle thing likes to come down and reduce speed on its own, just like that. So I managed to come up with a strap where I can push this forward just like that, and it keeps it from drifting. So it's just, I mean, it's ghetto fabulous obviously, but it works, no issue. So for now, I don't have time to mess with that. I might today, but I'm gonna try and straighten this one out today because that's been plaguing. I've straightened it out one time before. It was better than this, and then I hit a tree branch and it got messed up again. So that's how that happened. Another stupid thing about this mower is right here. If you release the brake, which I'm not gonna do right now because I'm obviously working on it, but if you release the brake too hard and too often, this bolt will break and shear off, and you're gonna hate your life, because if you don't have a spare bolt here, you're not gonna be able to turn the motor on or drive it, because it's behind here, and it's like a safety mechanism, and it has to be sitting or resting partial way anyways to work. So, and it pulled it off so much that it bent the actual chassis. So I don't even know how, but so I don't drop this parking brake anymore. I slowly put it down. I used to drop it, and I just broke the bolt. This is my 3rd bolt now, because first one took me to learn that I was a problem on that. So chain wise, these chains are all awesome. Just be careful. I did run into a tree stump once, and I got these binded to the point where I couldn't even use the mower that day because it was locked. So Be careful how low you put that down and hit something with it, because it does have, you know, you could ram soil with this front edge if you need to like level the ground a little bit. But if you hit something with that, you're gonna bind your chains, and then you might not be able to mow that day until you find a way to release it, or have 2-3 people to help you, or 2 or 3 jacks to help you kind of unbind it. Never had to adjust the level of the floating deck, thank God. There's not really anything I need to worry about. It always cuts the right height, unless these right here, your adjustments for the height on your deck. So depending on how many spacers you use on this bolt, you will cause these numbers to be completely irrelevant, and you have to know by experience if this is true 3 or 3.5 or 3 1/4 or below 3. If you do the spacer wrong. I choose to do 3 spacers, 3-to-1 ratio. Right now I'll show you here. So I do 3 above and 1 right there to get kind of optimal setting for me, to get the cut closest to those numbers that are preset on there. I had normally 2 and 2, which let me cut a little bit higher if I needed that true 5-inch tall height or higher. There is buildup over here. That's another downside, buildup here. But for the most part, this thing stays pretty clean. I don't have to scrape it as often, unless I'm cutting wet grass, obviously. Oh, there's a bolt there. I didn't even realize I left it there. Anyways, let's see what else. These front tires are awesome. You never have to worry about those going flat, obviously. Never had any issue. I think up here is starting to get loose. Probably need to maintain these soon, do some maintenance on those. Nice breakaway points here. If these break, you just replace them. Let's see what else. Never take this guard off. This is a lifesaver. Protects everything over there. I never use this cup holder. There's probably a dead snake in here. Yeah, plants were growing out of this. I need to clean that out. What else? The rollers, I don't hardly ever hit these, so they're still like, those are factory. They never went down. There's no rollers in the front. This tire is pretty much shot. The rim's still good. I have a spare rim, but that rim is bent up pretty bad. What else? Your hands do get tired. It's not as good as a 0 turn, I realize, but being standing up, the benefit is you don't get as much dust and crap on your face versus sitting down. Even on the tall ZXT, I get crap in my face. Even on this steel that we have, I'll do a review on that one too. Get dust in your face, but this helps with that. Unless there's high winds, and no matter where you are, no matter how tall you are, you're gonna get dust in your face, and you're gonna have to clear everything, ears, nose, everything. You better wear a mask or whatever you have to wear to protect yourself. But otherwise, it is a beast of a mower, more than enough power. It's not as fast as 0 turns. Obviously, it's only 8 to 10 miles per hour. With that strap, I'm getting maximum speed because it's pulls it a little more forward than factory. If I could probably cut that where the track is for that thing, if I cut a little bit forward, and if it would go more forward, I probably would get more speed out of it, or adjust it somewhere in the throttle cable. I don't know. I've never messed with that, so it probably would go just over 11 maybe, which would be really fast. I have been thrown off it about 2 times just from making quick turns, so be prepared for that. But luckily it shuts off if you do fall off of it. And it was just during this very steep decline or incline, and I was doing something I probably shouldn't be doing. Should just take the weed eater. Just be smart, don't do stupid stuff like that. Let's see what else. Oh, I've used it to push a couple logs, which is awesome. But when you do stuff like that, I'm sure I'm wearing these areas down, so operate at your own risk, because you're going to pay for it later. What else? there's really not much else to say. The paint's fading. Obviously, you're gonna hit stuff. This one's already 5 years old, so I have all the parts for it. I just keep it all in the bin because it makes it lighter. Because this thing is not as heavy as Skag. Skag is much heavier. This has a better footprint, especially over a 32. 32s leave train tracks. You don't normally want to buy a 32-inch mower, whether it's Wright or Skag. I don't know. I've never had a Wright 32, but the Skag 32, horrible. Never buy one. Just, I would never recommend it. This is better by far. I know the 36 Skag is much heavier and leaves tracks versus this, so I would recommend this over the Skag. If you are, doing pretty much 100 to 200 yards a month, I would rather have this. So other than that, if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. It's a very reliable mower. I hope this engine lasts a long time. That's why I'm maintaining it, like doing often oil changes and blade changes. Obviously I don't have a mulch kit on it, but I like the mulching blades better. This is like technically like a factory blade right here. It always wears out here on the edges and then wears out here. These teeth wear out from hitting like little sticks and stuff. I just sharpened this one with my grinder wheel, so we're gonna see how good of a cut. I didn't balance it or anything. I don't have one of those balancing tools yet, but it's gonna spin fast, so it's gonna rotate really quickly for that to be a negligible situation. So I don't think I'm gonna wear a bearing out for it being a gram or 2 grams off of metal on this side versus this side. I mean, I just gotta use some logic on some of this stuff. Just put WD-40 on it. I'm noticing some rusty stuff, so I did some cleaning, WD-40, and I'm gonna reinstall this here in a second. I got one already put on, so, and then I gotta go maintain the other mowers. So if you guys have any other questions or comments, just go ahead and leave it in the comments. But good mower, recommend it. All the issues that I've run into, I can't think of anything extra. Yeah, get some plugs for your tires if you run over stuff. Just always have those handy. That's pretty much the most important thing. And a spare belt. Oh yeah, doing the belt on this thing is actually very easy. I put a new belt in recently. Actually no, I didn't put it. Just fell off. This one just fell off and had to re-put it in. I hit some sticks or leaves or something and it made a belt fall off. And obviously I was cutting in the rain. Don't cut in the rain, it's just not worth it. You could just have too many hassles. So anytime it rains now, I'm just like, you know what, screw it. Unless I'm using a push mower, if I really need to make a day of it, I'll use a push mower for rain. But I'm not taking my big boys out and having the belt come off and having to deal with that, because it's going to be a 2 to 4 hour situation if you've never done it before. I always have to relearn, so there's 30 minutes of relearning which pulley does it go around. But I mean, this one's pretty self-explanatory. So all right, I will end the video now. Thanks.